Hello everyone. Welcome to the QuickSight Learning series. So as Maddie mentioned, today we will be covering the private connectivity to Amazon Redshift using QuickSight VPC connection. This is the topic of the day. The same uh, connectivity mechanism applies to Redshift. I mean, what we are discussing about Redshift, same thing applies for RDS or other data sources, relational databases as well. So connectivity will be very similar if you are using RDS or any other relational database which is available within the VPC using, I mean, it can be an AWS service or even a database deployed on EC2 instance. So Amazon QuickSight is a serverless business intelligence service, and it can connect to data from various heterogeneous sources. It can connect to data sources on the cloud. It can connect to various SaaS applications. It can even connect to on-premise data sources, or even you can use file uploads or files which are in S3 bucket to connect to the QuickSight and create your business intelligence dashboards. You can ingest the data in the QuickSight in a Spice in-memory caching engine, or even like direct queries are supported for many of the data sources. So you can interact with your dashboards, apply filters, and a SQL queries are generated and executed on your backend databases. So we support both the Spice and Direct Query for the Redshift, and a QuickSight being a comprehensive unified business intelligence tool. It helps in the historical analysis of the data. It helps in it's have a lot of other machine learning capabilities. For example, forecasting, anomaly detection. With SageMaker integration, you can bring in your own models, and Q and natural language query is also available that can help you to explore the data in a natural, intuitive way. QuickSight is a complete BI solution in a way that you can have interactive dashboards. QuickSight can be embedded within your business applications in an easier way. QuickSight helps you to ask natural language query questions and explore the data, as well as the paginated pixel perfect reports on a schedule can be sent out through the QuickSight. And all this capabilities are available in a serverless auto scaling model. You don't need to manage infrastructure operations. End-to-end security and complete APIs are available. So with that in mind, we will come to today's topic of uh, connecting QuickSight uh, with the Redshift. So here is a kind of common architectural pattern where you can connect to a data warehouse or data lake on the QuickSight. And if you can notice here that you can create a serverless data lake and analytics with AWS. So you can ingest data with from the S3 data lake. You can glue crawler service is also serverless. You can catalog that particular tables. You can load it to Amazon Redshift serverless, or even Redshift Spectrum supports it. Similarly, other services like Glue, Athena, EMR will allow you to query the data in a serverless way. These are analytics services are available, and you can build your visualization layer on Amazon using Amazon QuickSight, and it's again a serverless. So you will have an end-to-end serverless architecture built by using the QuickSight. So if you notice here that what all data sources you can connect for Redshift for QuickSight. So you can connect to various on-premise databases. So if you are using any open source or third-party databases like Postgres, Oracle, SQL Server on-premise, these are also supported because on-premise databases can be connected through the Direct Connect gateway to the AWS VPC, and QuickSight can be connected to the AWS VPC, and that will enable the connectivity to on-premise data sources. We can have connectivity to various databases which are on AWS. It can be on EC2 or it can be RDS. Yeah, even the third-party databases, for example, Snowflake and Databricks, those are also supported. Oracle, SQL Server are also supported data sources, and even SaaS applications like Salesforce and ServiceNow are can be used to ingest data in the QuickSight, can be used to uh, build a dashboard directly by using the QuickSight. And besides this, QuickSight is also integrated with Athena service. So Athena will allow it to connect to various other database services as well. So QuickSight using Athena federated queries can connect to a lot more number of data sources. You can refer to QuickSight documentation for complete list of data sources supported using QuickSight. So this is the architecture pattern for making connectivity uh, to the uh, to the on-premise data centers, to the databases hosted in on-premise data centers or databases hosted within the VPC in an EC2. So if you notice here, like on the right side, you have Amazon QuickSight. So you have to first create a VPC connection endpoint, which will create a network interface, ENI Elastic Network Interface within the VPC. And if you have other databases connected within the VPC, it can communicate seamlessly. Even if you have AWS Direct Connect to on-premise their databases, using this, you can have an end-to-end secure private connectivity to the backend databases. It's possible. So some of the points which you need to be aware of while configuring the QuickSight to Redshift database connectivity specifically. Redshift is available as as a cluster, or Redshift is also available as a serverless endpoint. So QuickSight can supports connectivity to both Amazon Redshift serverless and Redshift cluster, and you can connect to Redshift manage VPC endpoint, or even the public internet connectivity to Redshift is also supported. Uh, you can have a private connectivity to the Redshift cluster, which may be in the same VPC as QuickSight endpoint, or you can have a different VPC for Redshift and different VPC for QuickSight endpoint, and they can also communicate. Provided you should have like a proper network connectivity between two separate VPCs, with one way hosting the Redshift, another hosting the QuickSight. And there for authentication, typically most common scenario is to use the database credentials. So you can use database credentials for connectivity to the Redshift, but other mechanisms like trusted identity propagation, which is yeah, using the pass-through identities between the QuickSight and Redshift. If you are using IAM Identity Center, that is also a supported feature for Redshift connectivity. And even you can have run as a role feature. You can leverage it if you create a data source to the Redshift. So you will be able to execute to connect to the Redshift specific tables or specific permissions will be applied when you at the runtime when you query the Redshift data source. So run as a role feature in the QuickSight is also supported for Redshift connectivity. Row level security feature, column level security features, such other security features are also supported for Redshift data source. And you can provide the credentials while creating the data source directly, or using the APIs. When you create a data source, you can also use the secret manager to pass through the credentials. If you're programmatically creating it and you don't want to store the credentials, you can use uh, the secret manager integration of our QuickSight and pass the credential using it. One common thing which you need to do is allow list the rules within the security group, so that there will be network communication between the QuickSight and Redshift security groups, or both the service can communicate. So for that purpose, you need to enable QuickSight and Redshift security groups. You need to allow proper inbound communication, outbound communication between both of the service. And QuickSight supports both direct query and Spice method for data ingestion. What we recommend is to use Spice whenever possible. You can use the Spice for best price performance with the Redshift. So this is the architecture what we will be demoing today. So we will have a QuickSight account, and in the same region we will have a Redshift cluster deployed within the VPC. We set up the connectivity and query the data. We will be using the same VPC, and you will have Redshift and QuickSight created. We will have two separate security groups, one for Redshift, one for the QuickSight, and we enable communication through security groups. We create the first of all VPC endpoint, and that way we will set up the data source for Redshift. Thereafter, we'll set up the data source for Redshift once VPC connectivity is in place, and we'll create the data set and use that particular data. So will be the demo we will be going through, and we will cache the data for Spice as a best practice for powering our dashboards, reports, and Q questions. But it is not necessary. If you have a real-time use case, you can also use the direct query. Spice will help you to achieve higher concurrency, and it will help you to provide low latency because Spice is an in-memory columnar store. It's a serverless architecture, and it can cache the data at a regular interval. You can refresh data from Redshift or Redshift serverless endpoint, and that will help you to reduce the cost on your backend data stores as well as provide you high performance and high concurrency. So these are the steps we will be using for connectivity, for Redshift connectivity in the demo. First, we'll set up Redshift private VPC endpoint. We'll ensure that Redshift private VPC endpoint is properly configured. And I will show you the configuration of it. So first and foremost requirement is Redshift should have a private VPC endpoint configuration. Then we create a VPC connection in the QuickSight, and we will allow list security group rules. We'll configure allow list rules in the security groups for Redshift as well as the QuickSight. So we'll have two security groups, one for Redshift, one for security group, one for QuickSight. And in those security group, we'll allow two-way communication between the QuickSight and the Redshift. Then we'll create a QuickSight data source which will be connecting to Redshift. So we will be using the Redshift cluster for connectivity, but same thing can be happened for Spice as well. And we'll select few tables, run certain queries, and create a sample dashboard. So let's dive into the demonstration. Okay, so this is my Redshift cluster. I've pre-provisioned it. Now here, one thing I have to notice here that if I go to the properties, uh, you can see that public accessibility is disabled. That means I don't allow connectivity via public internet. And I will be using the VPC connectivity. So I have Redshift deployed in a VPC. This is my VPC. And for I have configured it for multiple availability zones. And this is my security group. So let's first of all, now I have this configuration of the Redshift. I know that this is a security group. It's configured. It's in the available state, and I have VPC endpoint and public accessibility is disabled. Let's try to create a VPC endpoint connection for the QuickSight. So for that purpose, I need an admin permission. I have logged in into the QuickSight as an admin, and I will go and create a VPC connection. So I will go to admin screen by clicking on Manage QuickSight. Here you can find the VPC connection, the left navigation pane. So I go on Manage VPC. For creating a VPC connection, what information I will require? So I will require a VPC ID. So I will use the same VPC ID um, as my Redshift. I'm using my Redshift and QuickSight both within the same VPC, so I can use it. But if these VPCs are paired or connected, I can even use another VPC which is having a connectivity to the Redshift. QuickSight requires execution role to create a network interface. Here we are creating a network interface. So QuickSight service needs to have a role which can create a network interface. within the VPC. So I can create a specific role. So let me go to the IAM and create a role here. I will use custom trust policy, and maybe I can give permission to the QuickSight, create the endpoint. So this is the custom permission I am giving. Let's go next. And I have for the in the interest of time, I've created a VPC endpoint policy already. So I will use it. I will show you what is there in this particular policy. So I'm using a policy which allows QuickSight to create a network interface endpoint within a VPC. So if you notice here, I will go into this particular policy. And in the JSON, it provides you capability to create or modify network interface within the VPC. So now what I will do is, let's say, we'll scroll down, and here, let's create this particular role. I will give a role, QLS VPC QuickSight 1. This is the role I'm creating. So this is the role I will be using. Now I have this role available. What else information I require for creating VPC endpoint? So I require a security group for QuickSight as service as well. So let's create a security group for QuickSight. So in the security group, let's create a new security group. QLS QuickSight security group 1. I will say QuickSight security group, and I will create it in that same VPC, the default VPC. This is my VPC ID. And I will go right now without any inbound rule. Later on, I will add the inbound rule. I have an outbound rule open to internet already. So inbound rule, I will make it as a restricted rule for inbound communication to the QuickSight service. Outbound, I'm allowing everything. Let's create this particular QuickSight security group. I will be using this particular QuickSight security group also here. So in the VPC connection, let's go. Probably we will have both of this available now. You can see it. We have created this particular QuickSight security group, and we have, we'll say QLS VPC con 1. This is the connection name. I'm using VPC ID. In execution role, I can see a specific role. This is a QLS VPC QuickSight role 1 what I created. For high availability of VPC connection, I require at least 2 subnets. So I will go and create a multiple, I will create this particular VPC connection in multiple subnets. So I'm using 3 subnets here for high availability. You can have, minimum 2 is required. And for this particular QuickSight VPC connection, I will provide a security group. So that's what I created just now. I will use this particular security group. Okay. And once it's there, I will click on add. So it is creating this VPC connection right now. And you will notice it is in unavailable state. In some time it will go in from unavailable to available state. So up to that particular point in time, you have to wait. Let's refresh this. Okay. Meanwhile, it configures this particular VPC connection. What I will do is I will allow list the inbound communication from QuickSight to Redshift cluster and vice versa. So I have this QuickSight security group here. If you notice, there is an outbound rule here, but there is no inbound rule. So let's configure the inbound rule in the QuickSight so that traffic originating from the Redshift will be coming in the QuickSight. So I will edit inbound rule, add rule, and here I will say all TCP, all traffic originating from my Redshift security group. I should allow all this traffic originating from the Redshift into the QuickSight. So let's go and select this. So this is my security group for Redshift. I am saying within the QuickSight, allow all traffic that is originating from Redshift security group into the QuickSight. I can put a comment here, not necessary, and I will save it. So I have created my first security group that is allowing traffic to the QuickSight service from Redshift. Same way, I have to allow inbound communication from QuickSight into Redshift. So let's go to the Redshift and click on this particular security group of Redshift. And this is the same, right? 86F, 86F. Yeah. So here I can I can add the inbound rule for Redshift connectivity. And I can give this QuickSight security group name here. So QuickSight security group name is this. This is the ID of QuickSight security group. Let's add it here. So this is the security group what we created, and I am creating this. So you will notice this particular inbound rule is also created and outbound is everything. So let's now try to, check our VPC connection. It might be available by now. Yeah, so it is an available state. So QLS. This will be the VPC connection we are going to use to create a data source. Let's go back to the slide. We have to create a data source now. Hopefully by now we are through with other steps. So we have a Redshift VPC endpoint configured. We have QuickSight VPC connection configured, and we have configured allow listing between QuickSight and Redshift. We are going to step number 4 now, creating a data source in the QuickSight. So let's go to the QuickSight console screen. So here I will go, and in the data set, like if I have to create a data source, click on this new data set. I will be creating a Redshift data source. So there are two options here, auto discover or manual connect. For serverless, you should use the manual connect. Here, since it's already like I'm using a cluster, which is part of the VPC, I will use auto discover. Let's use auto discover here. So QLS Redshift data source. I will choose this. In terms of VPC connection, I will see that particular VPC connection what I have configured. So QLS VPC con1 is there. My database is dev. So let's see which table I wanted to connect to. So in the Redshift cluster, here this is my Redshift cluster, and in the public schema, there is a in the dev database, in the public schema, there is a SaaS sales table. So I am going to connect to it. So this is my table in the Redshift cluster. This is the same cluster, Redshift QS cluster 1. This is the same cluster I'm using. Redshift QS cluster 1. Okay. So in the QuickSight, let's use this particular database dev, and my username is AWS user, and I will put my password, and I click on validate connection. Yes, so my connection is validated. That means there is a connectivity. Now create data source. Here I can find all the tables in my Redshift database in different schemas. So I have public schema only, and I can see these all tables are present. Tables and views you can use very well. I can even write custom SQL. So I will say QLS SAS sales data set, and I will say select star from SAS sales. I'll say confirm query, and I can use either import to the Spice. I can cache my data within the QuickSight Spice in memory columnar engine here, and or I can use a direct query. So I'm using the Spice. Let's click on edit preview data, and I click on apply. Yeah, so this is the query. I can even have a complex query with joins and accessing multiple Redshift tables. And here I will change the query mode to Spice. You can notice the SAS sales table is there. These are all the columns in the table, and you can see the preview of the data. So click on, once I change it to Spice, click on save and publish. So it is querying this, it is executing this query and caching the data within the Spice. If I use direct query, then I can also use a data set with a direct query. But I'm using Spice right now here, and Spice refresh is in progress. It may take a few minutes for this refresh to happen successfully. And once it's done, I will click on publish and visualize. I can use the same data set for either creating interactive sheet, uh, or I can use it for paginated report also if I want to create certain reports which I want to send out as a multi-page report to various business users on a regular schedule. I can use the paginated report. It's a pixel perfect report with different paper size optimizations. I can select interactive sheet here, and if you notice here, I have my data set available. Let's see if I can build up some charts with it. Let's select sales and industry, and maybe we can change it to donut. So yeah, I have my data set available, and I am building my dashboard using it. Let's create a couple of more charts. Okay, so that way I'm through, and I'm able to build up my dashboard using the Redshift data source. So here I like to end up my session, and over to you, Maddie.
And with that, we'll just wrap up today's session. Thanks everyone for joining, and hope you have a great rest of your day.